In round two of the U.S. Open for Seth Straka, third ace here at the ninth, recorded in U.S. Opens here. One made by Peter Jacobson and another by Zach Johnson. Both were playing with Kenny Perry when they made their aces.
Straka with a hole-in-one today. It's interesting because earlier he had a triple bogey. So it made up for that. I believe it was on the fourth.
That helped heal that wound.
At Pinehurst No.2. And joining us now, always nice enough to join us to talk some golf and indoor football season. It's football. British Open champion Tom Lehman. How we doing, Tom? What's going on? How are you today?
Good afternoon, guys. It's great being with you. I'm doing really well over here on the beach in Del Mar, California. Life is good.
Oh, geez.
Way to rub it in there,
Thank
Tom.
you. 107 today.
Appreciate that, bud.
Okay, never mind. I'm in Anchorage.
Yeah.
-5 right now.
So, hey, when you have time to just chill with family, do you even get out and hit golf balls, or do you just turn it off?
No, you know what? We actually played this morning. We went out early and we just got home. And I like to get out and play in the morning. And, get the boys or whomever, and we go play, and then we spend the afternoon doing whatever else we want to do. And, of course, this weekend will be a lot of watching golf on the weekend.
How does that work? I mean, you're not on golfnow.com, are you? I mean, how are you getting your tee time? I mean, is it just, I mean, how do you just make a call, just say, I mean, is there privileges you have as a golf professional at your level?
No, not much. There's, basically just do it. Like I belong to the farms over here, so we have a place to go play, and so
Okay.
I just make a tee time like any other member. But there are some privileges. Sometimes they'll, let me sneak out right before the very first group of the day, and get out ahead of the bunch so I can get around in 2 hours and play. But so there are some perks, no doubt. I mean, but there's a lot of places where it's the same for me, it's the same for everybody else.
And, Rock, I trained both his sons, Thomas and Sean, so well that they're now golfers versus
Could
quarterbacks.
make it work at football.
So,
That's right. He trained him right out of football.
Yeah. Smart.
But I know Sean, you said Sean is now attempting to make it as well. Thomas, I know, and it's crushes it. How about Sean? He's attempting to try to make it as well?
Yeah, well, Sean loved football. I mean, that was his passion, as you know, growing up. And so golf still is like number two. I think if he could have a perfect world, that would be the world that he still would be living in. But,
Sure.
Life didn't give that to him. So I don't know that he loves golf enough to really want to make a career out of it. But Thomas, on the other hand, is, he's pretty passionate about it. He's working super hard, and we'll see where it ends up getting him. But it's a tough world out there. I mean, you watch the U.S. Open and you watch all these great young players, and there's so many good players from all over the world. It's pretty tough.
Tom, when you look at the U.S. Open and Pinehurst 2, what comes to mind when you hear Pinehurst 2?
Fear. Just so difficult to get a lot of grants. I think we've talked about this before. When you're nervous in the U.S. Open, especially, you just kind of want to try to, simplify the game, hit it in the fairway, hit it on the green, see if you can kind of play boring golf and, and make your pars. Pinehurst is the kind of place where even if you drove it perfectly and hit most every fairway, you could actually have a pretty good day with the irons and still miss half the greens. It's really difficult to hit greens, especially if you start getting aggressive. Once you start getting aggressive on those greens and trying to go pin chasing, your margin for error is almost zero. Like, you have almost no margin for error, and you pay the penalties. So it's a golf course that really demands that you be patient and play defensively and conservatively.
It's interesting, Tom, to hear you say that, because I remember we had your counterpart, Steve Jones, on 2 days ago. Or yesterday, I'm sorry. And that 1996 Open, you and him went right down to the wire. And to hear him talk about his back, the back nine, stay relaxed. His whole frame of mind was it's just another golf course. It's just golf. And I'm like, wow, that easy? I mean, when I'm playing the, New England Patriots, they're blitzing here and there. I'm going, it's just not just another game. They're just coming after me, right? What was your mindset coming down the wire with Steve in that 1996 Open? Because you had a hell of a year. I mean, you were on fire. But even then, it seems like there's trepidation on the back nine of the U.S. Open.
Yeah. Well, that was actually a really fun Open. he played really well. I played really well. As I kind of remember thinking, hey, just try to hit good shots and try to put it in the fairway. And then when you had the opportunity to get aggressive, with a second shot and, to try to make a birdie, it presented itself. I mean, there were some chances you could take. And that to me was the fun part about it. The golf course would give it up, if you took advantage in the right situations. On Saturday that year, I shot 65. And so I knew the golf course would give you a good score if you took advantage of the opportunities. And, sometimes though, honestly, just the things just don't bounce your way. You catch the lip instead of the ball going in. You catch the downslope instead of the upslope, and the ball shoots forward versus stopping. I mean, you know how things can go. But that course, I thought presented some opportunities if you put the ball in the fairway, whereas Pinehurst doesn't really give you a lot of that. There are some, but boy, oh boy, you better be really good with the irons.
How is it, though? It seems like most professional golfers we talk to, they can remember every shot on every hole, and it doesn't matter when they played in that tournament. How do you like teach your kids, your son who's aspiring to get to the next level, to have that kind of thought process and to remember shots?
Well, I think it's not just the actual playing of the round; it's the evaluating of the round afterwards.
Okay.
So to me, that's a big part of it. Is if you're simply playing the round and then locking away in the book, okay, one more round, and in the books, never to be thought of again. Then I can see where you could forget about things pretty easily. But if you go back and evaluate the round and think about the tee shots and where you hit your approaches, where you made the mistakes and how, then it really kind of tends to stick in there even a lot longer. So I remember a lot of really important rounds, virtually every shot I hit, because of that evaluation after the fact. I mean, you can't learn, if you don't evaluate afterwards. And it's like watching film in a sport, you have to kind of go back and watch and see what you missed.
All right, Tom. So evaluate after you lost the Open to Steve Jones in 1996. You win the British Open in 1996. Yeah. The next tournament after you evaluated would help you to go win the next major, that being the British Open.
I think knowing that there wasn't a lot that could have done better in that U.S. Open. I mean, when I say that I hit some great shots that didn't turn out, that really was the case. It was one of those things where you have to be kidding, where how did the ball end up here? After hitting such a great shot there, and whatever it might be. So there's sometimes where the bounces just don't go your way, where you catch the lip and they lip out, or you catch the downslope and it doesn't stop, and you can't control that. So to me, the beauty of golf is if you can simply control what you can control and execute the way you are trying to execute. Once that ball is in the air, you're at the vagaries of the wind or the bounce that it gets, or where you hit a hot hard spot in the green or land in an old divot, or who knows what it could be. You can't control that.
So at Pinehurst 2, where do you make the run? Where do you back off? If you're 3 down with 4 to play, is it just go for it or just play your game and hopefully somebody comes back to you? How do you evaluate that?
Yeah, it's interesting. I know they turned a couple par 5s into par 4s. I don't know which ones. I mean, 16 used to be a par 5, so it was an obvious place to try to pick one up if you were behind. 15, literally is one of the hardest greens in the universe to hit in regulation. So if you can keep it on the green, you're going to have a chance for birdie. But I think historically only like 23% of the shots you hit to that green stay on the green. So it's very hard to hit. 17, I think, is one of the most birdieable par 3s. So there's an opportunity there. And again, 18, that green, although it's a somewhat longer hole now, I mean, that green is not one of the crazies. That green right there you can make some putts on, and Payne Stewart was a perfect example, of that is, when you, the green has some real flat spots to it, or you can make some putts. So you can make some birdies coming in. That is really one, I think, of more birdieable stretches on the golf course.
Tom, my last one has nothing to do with the U.S. Open, but when you look at your career and you look at the courses you've played so many throughout the world. What would you say is not your best, because that's the easy part, your most challenging, 1 or 2 challenging courses you've ever played?
Oh gosh, you know what? Well, there's a golf course up in Colorado Springs, the Broadmoor.
Broadmoor, okay.
We played the senior U.S. Open there, which I still today think is one of the hardest courses I've ever played. Brutally difficult. I thought that was extremely, extremely difficult, and I always thought Oakmont. You know, Oakmont,
Really?
especially since they made the changes, they took all the trees down. I mean, I think, you know, you look at some of the opens, the U.S. Opens that have been played, and you know, there was a stretch where they played at Oakmont at Wingfoot, and I'm drawing a blank on the third, but the 3 years in a row, the winning scores are like 4, 5, and 6 over par. You know, those are hard golf courses, and Oakmont, I think, is right near the top of the list.
Wow. Tom, thank you. Enjoy Poseidon or Jake's, wherever you're going to go. We're jealous. Enjoy.
Hey, Delmar Pizza.
Yeah.
Delmar Pizza.
Delmar
Thank you.
Pizza, exactly.
And you tell Sean, more footwork, more cone work. Let's go. Let's get that going.
Hey, footwork works in every sport.
Yes.
No question.
So, anyway, I'll tell him you said that. No slacking and no Cadillacing.
Got that right, buddy. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate your time.
All right, guys. Talk to you later.
Tom Lehman joining us from Del Mar. Appreciate him. Jealous. Oh, look, he's such a good guy.
Funny. Do you want to just make a call? Well, you know.
Yeah, you golf now.
Yeah.
You know, I want to go play Morgan Run in Del Mar. Well, you're gonna have to call this guy, and it's $200. You know,
You go, Tom. You go
he just
online.
walks up and he just, hey, I need can I just get here's $10. Can I get a bucket of balls?
Sure.
He just
Hey,
goes in.
Tom Lehman's here on that club pro. Like,
Oh,
did you take care of him?
jeez.
That's good.
Hey, I'll remind you tomorrow, Take the Points, which gets going at 11 o'clock from the Sportsbook in Casino, Arizona. They got 3 live betting windows, 6 self-service betting kiosks, plus 8 screens that display all the betting lines. Check it out for yourself. Coming up, our Learner and Row, one call, that's all. Keep or scratch. Common